In the 10-minute workshop this week, well, we're away from the workshop, we're at the desktop, where I'm going to explain to you why I don't use Sketchup and what I do use to produce my super simple 2D line drawings for client work. All that's coming up next. And welcome back. So yeah, it's one of those strange things. Whenever I show the little 2D line drawings that I use in one of the videos, I get two kinds of comments from him. One is, why don't you use SketchUp? You're crazy. That's a you know, everybody uses SketchUp. Why don't you? And the other one is, wow, that's amazing. What do you use for those super simple line drawings? I'm not going to go into the specific software too much. I'm going to run you through what I do. But generally speaking, I used to use SketchUp. I have no problem with SketchUp. Back in the very early days when SketchUp was owned by Google, I used it. I found that I was spending a lot more time on the drawings than I was in the actual making almost. And the feedback I was getting from clients that I was showing the drawings to, they were picking up, their comments were about the drawings rather than what the thing was actually going to be like. Oh, will it be that color? No, of course it won't be that color because this is just a printed thing. In the end, it was just simpler, I felt, to provide a really simple little 2D line drawing. I don't need to work out the sort of how things are going to join together in SketchUp. What I make is fairly simple, and if I do need to work something out, I'd rather take it and build a mock-up of it out of bits of scrap and figure it out that way than try and do it in a drawing. All I want from a drawing is a very simple representation of the front of a cabinet, the interior layout, and maybe the side and maybe the plan, just so that somebody can look at that and think, oh yeah, that's the sort of size and shape and proportion that I need, and that's how it's going to fit into the room, and that's how they sit on either side of the chimney breast if we're doing alcoves, for example. And that is served perfectly well, in my experience, by a very simple little 2D line drawing. Certainly it hasn't, the lack of three-dimensional whiz-bang drawings hasn't held my business back any, and I'm just going to run you through what I use and how I produce those drawings now. So I use an application called Graphic. It used to be called iDraw. It was put together by a former Autodesk engineer, I believe, and it is essentially it's a vector illustration program. That means it's not ideal for doing the sort of drawings that I do. There's a couple of glaring omissions, and I'll show you workarounds for those. One thing that I do miss is not having a tape measure facility, but again, we can get around that. Let's dive right in. First thing you do is set your page size. So I'm going to set it to A4 and landscape, and this is what you get. Again, I'm not going to teach you how to use software at a very basic level. I'm just going to show you the general things in common with most other applications. Command plus, command minus will zoom in and out. In Graphic here, we've got our tools on the left, specific shapes and things down here, ways of customizing those to the left, and on the right we've got our sort of document specific things. We're going to go into the document settings to start with and set our scale, our rulers to millimeters, and we're going to get the scale to 1 to 20. Now 1 to 20 is fairly large because I'm going to be drawing wardrobes. If you're drawing something smaller than that, then obviously you can use a smaller scale, but 1 to 20 is particularly good for wardrobes. And then still in here, we're going to go back to the ruler, and that'll give us our actual individual dimensions. Most of the tools that we're going to use here are either the move tool up here, the selection tool, line tool, the rectangle, and the circle. And basically, if you take the rectangle and draw a rectangle, it appears on screen. Change that to the select tool. You can grab it and move it around. Nice and simple and straightforward. You can resize it by dragging a corner. There are little handles on each of these. You can, if you want to resize it proportionately, you hit Shift and drag it and it'll move in Pro. And there's also if you wait until the cursor changes to a curve, you can actually drag it around a fixed point like so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recreate the most recent wardrobe job that I did. Very simple drawings. We're mostly using rectangles and lines and a little bit of circle. The commands we're going to use a lot is Command D for duplicate and Command G for group. And I'll explain those in a bit more detail as I'm using them. Let's start by just drawing a rectangle. Any rectangle, anywhere at all, doesn't matter what you're doing. We'll go up to our dimension box in the top right here. I know this was 1,000 wide. And I know it was 2080 tall. So that's our wardrobe. Now that's floor to ceiling. The ceiling is actually at 2010, but I want to give 20 mil of wiggle room. This plinth that it's going on is going on in the same height as the skirting board, which is 4 inches, 100 mil. So what we're going to do, we're just going to duplicate this by going to, whoops, edit, duplicate, or Command D. And again, we're just going to shift this back using the cursor keys. And if you shift up and shift left, they'll go back to the same place. You can just drag it around and you can see on screen little orange lines when it lines up in the dead center. What we're going to do now, because we're drawing the plinth, we're just going to take the height and mark that down to 100 mil. Then we can drag that down to the bottom, and that's our overall area and the plinth. We're now going to make the carcass size just by dragging that bottom edge up using the handle until it clicks into shape. It'll snap into place where that orange line is. Let's make this a bit bigger so you can see better. Alright, we're still in the move tool, so we'll select the overall carcass shape and we're going to duplicate that. Again, shift up and shift across to get it back into position, and we're going to make that 18 mil thick. So that's the carcass thickness in there now. Now we've got that, we can duplicate that and move it across to the other side, and we can do the same with the top, making it 18 mil thick. And the base. Simple as that. We've got a hanging rail in here as well, so we're just going to take the top section and duplicate that again. That's about the right place, so we'll just shift and left arrow across to get that in place, but obviously it's not thick enough. Hanging rails are 25 mil, so we'll put that in a little bit thicker. There's a central divider and a set of shelves in here as well, so what I'm going to do is just click on the back panel again, duplicate that, center it again, and we're going to make that 500 mil wide to give us the center mark. Then we can take a carcass, duplicate that, we're going to make that 900 high, because that's how we know it is. And then when we drag this across, you can see as it comes over to that central divider, it'll either snap to one edge, to the center, or to the other edge. We're going to keep it snapped so that it's in the right hand side of the wardrobe, just like that. I'm going to move that out of the way for the moment. And the next thing we want to do is do the same thing again, duplicate the base. You can drag this up into shape, into position, and then we just need to carefully drag this across with one of the handles so that it snaps to the inside edge. We need to pop a couple of shelves in here because these are adjustables, So we're going to duplicate that top, and what we're going to do, we're just going to use the cursor keys and the shift to bring that into about the right place, and then with it still selected, we're just going to duplicate that, and what happens is it makes a duplicate and it shifts it down in exactly the right proportion as the first one was. It doesn't even them out within the space like Sketchup does, but it does space them equally depending on what the original space was. So that's our 3 shelves in there now. So fairly simple, fairly straightforward. A wardrobe carcass, hanging rail, set of shelves, long hanging, short hanging, and a plinth. Really quickly and easily done. Let's get some doors on this. We'll duplicate the plinth and bring this across, and that's conveniently that half a carcass is the same thickness, same size as one of our doors. We're going to duplicate that and center it, and we'll make the top rail 80mm deep. We'll duplicate that again and bring that down to around where we want. It's not, doesn't have to be exact at the moment. And then we'll duplicate that again, and this time, because it's the bottom rail, we make it 125. I usually do the base rail a little bit deeper on a tall door like this. So there are the rails in. Then we click on the back again, duplicate it, up and across, and then we can make that 80 wide. Duplicate that again. And there you go. Now, because the stiles were created after the rails, they've gone behind them. So we want those in the front, so we'll just shift click on both of those stiles. We'll go to arrange at the top and then bring to front. And that's our door done. What we can do now, we can drag select over those to select them all, and then we can go to arrange and group, or command G, and that makes all of those move around together now. So now we can duplicate that and move that across. It'll snap into position, and that's our doors all done. Maybe put a little doorknob on those. We'll select the ellipse or circle again. It can be any shape you want until you hit shift, and then it snaps into a circle or a square depending on what you've already selected. And we'll just put 40 by 40 in the dimensions box. When it gets this small, it can be quite hard to select, so I tend to just shift this around with the shift key and the cursor keys. And it's in the right place. We can select it again, command D to duplicate, and there you go, 2 doorknobs. Select all of those and bring them across a little bit. Okay, let's get some dimensions on these. To do this, I like to do the dimensions and the arrows on a different layer, because sometimes you want to give somebody a set of drawings if it's just a very initial idea of plans or cost. You can send those in without dimensions, so they then can't give your plans to somebody else to quote on. So we're going to go to the right here. I'm going to click new layer. New layer comes at the top. Make sure that is selected. You can switch the layers off if you choose to. But with the new layer, we're then going to go to the line tool, and we are going to shift and click to get the width. We're going to do the same for the width of the shelves. We want 1 for the floor to ceiling height, and we want 1 for the carcass height. And because they're on a separate layer, we can go to Edit and select all, or Command A, on all those lines are selected. So then what we'll do, we'll come here, we'll make sure that the line tool is selected, and we can put the arrowheads on. You need to do each arrowhead separately in this program. So with the arrowheads in, we can select. We're going to do these separately. We're going to do the, I just thought I'm going to do one more actually. I'm just going to do the height of these shelves as well. And we do arrowheads, arrowheads. Okay, we're just going to select the horizontal dimensions for now. We go over to the label tool and we choose dimensions. We're going to go down here and select horizontal. Then we go to the text and choose the font and size. It's a little bit calmer, and we do the same with the vertical arrows. Back to the label tool, select dimension, we select vertical, and then we go to the text tool. Oops. Select the text and size. So there you go. That's your very simple double wardrobe, carcass and doors with dimensions. And if you wanted to give that to a client without the dimensions on it, then you just take off that layer and print it out or email it just like that. And I'm going to leave it there, I think, because this is all dragging on a bit. This was supposed to be a real quick little video for you this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found that interesting. If you did, give the video a thumbs up, share it amongst your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more weekly workshop videos. There is an extended version of this video on my Patreon channel if you want to see how I made that angled unit and that sort of thing. There's a few more little bits and pieces that we get into, as well as the general layout of a set of drawings that I give to clients. If that's of interest to you, then come and join the Patreon party at patreon.com/10-minute workshop. But that's it for this week. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.